Have you ever heard the phrase that the books are better? That is something I heard countless times when I was younger, and that is because I wasn't much of a reader. Honestly, there were some book series that I really did enjoy reading, but if there was a movie or TV show about said book series, I would have just watched that instead because I really like visuals. And honestly, it never really bothered me when somebody said the movie or TV show sucks, just read the books, because I was ignorant, and ignorance is bliss. It wasn't until I got into the world of anime that I was really pushed to start reading the books, because some anime will leave off on cliffhangers and never go back for a season 2. Why? Because they want you to read the books, or in this case, they want you to read the manga. Now, granted, movies do this too, leaving off on cliffhangers, but for me, it was a lot easier to watch a 2-hour movie than it was to read a 300-page or so book. I'm not the same person I was anymore, okay? I like to read.
This is exactly what I did with the little series called The Promised Neverland. I watched season 1 of the anime on Netflix and loved it. I was sucked in and invested in the world and its characters and wanted more. So I picked up the manga and started reading it over a couple-week time span, and what a fun ride that was. Then season 2 of the anime came out, and all I heard was how poopy Magoo it was, and everyone was big mad. Not little mad, not sorta mad, big mad. The internet did what the internet does best. They started bitching. Once I heard this, I was scared to watch season 2. It came full circle. I became what I swore to destroy. I became the books are better guy. But I watched it anyway, and oh my lucky stars, what a train wreck it was. Season 1 was really good. It followed the manga and was well paced. Season 2, yikes. But this video isn't going to be me just bitching about how bad Season 2 was. There are plenty of bitch videos out there. I'm going to talk specifically about why I think the manga is better, and also talk about what I think the anime does better. So yes, massive, absolute big boy spoilers for the Promised Neverland anime and manga. This is the Promised Neverland manga versus anime. Just a quick recap. Season 1 of the anime leaves off with Emma, Ray, and a few other children escaping the clutches of Isabella, aka Mama. Norma got shipped off, and that is where we begin our journey. The first 2 episodes of Season 2 do a pretty good job of world building and following the manga, cutting out a few things but nothing to get a hernia over. This is also where I think the anime in general has a leg up over manga, making it easier to see locations and demons. Sometimes in the manga I look at certain panels and have no idea what I'm looking at. Since there is motion in anime, as well as way more frames, it's a lot easier to pick it out. Granted, The Promised Neverland isn't the only manga that I struggle with seeing what is actually happening. We meet Sanju and Mujika. They are really cool and are demons that don't eat humans. They take care of our kids and teach them stuff as well as lead them to their destination. The children are trying to find a location that William and Nerva specified to go to through a pen with some coordinates. The kids get to the shelter, and this is where we as the books are better people get a big fat wooden pleasure device in the poop chute. They open the door revealing no one there. In the manga we meet a guy named Hugo, and holy hell is he a real piece of ass, and not the good ass. He is also an escapee who had been living in this shelter for years after all his comrades died. He is a complete bag of dicks to all of the kids, especially Emma, and threatens to kill them. They end up finding more coordinates that William and Nerva left them and want to go check it out, but they want Hugo's experience, so they threaten to blow up the shelter unless Hugo helps them. There's a lot that goes on throughout these chapters, and I'm just summarizing. That being said, Hugo turns out to be one of my favorite characters, and the arcs to come are amazing. Hugo ends up leading Emma and Ray out to the forest by Goldie Pond hunting grounds. Emma gets trapped while out there in the forest and wakes up in Goldie Pond, where there are 3 rules. 1. Music. 2. Monsters. 3. Survive. Goldie Pond is a private hunting ground owned by an aristocratic demon named Lord Bayon. It's exactly what it sounds like, a human hunting ground for the demons. This arc really is amazing. So much goes on, as well as some amazing character development of Emma, Hugo, and some introductions to some new characters, as well as a new demon named Luvis. Luvis is a demon that just wants to see a human put up a good fight for once. And when Emma shows up, she does just that. We meet a new character named Lucas, who is the leader of the humans at Goldie Pond and is also a past friend of Hugo, who we don't even know his name at this point, so I kinda spoiled that. Some epic battles pursue throughout this arc, and you get a glimpse into the humane parts of the demons that they fight with. You also get to really see Emma shine through in this arc, giving us readers more of a reason to like her. She shows her fearlessness by squaring up with the demons and fighting back, even getting Luvis's attention. She ends up shooting the breeze with him for about 15 minutes, you get these awesome fight scenes, and by the end, Emma has earned the respect of pretty much everyone, including Hugo, who wanted to kill her earlier, mind you. She's also almost dead and needs to be rushed back to the shelter for medical help, even though it is days away. Mr. Nameless Guy, aka Hugo, really respects Emma at this point and runs her all the way back to the shelter where she gets help and then has this really epic moment where everyone is around her bedside happy to see her okay. This was like a Naruto Frodo moment and it hit me right in the heartstrings. Once Emma wakes up and has her badass hero moment, they begin planning their next venture to find the 7 walls to make a new promise with Ishmael. I have no idea what his name is. It's in demon language and it starts with an I. Yeah, it's something that you barely hear about in the anime, but it is really important in the manga. Emma wants to make a new promise because the last promise sucks booty cheeks for the humans and the demons, which you find out how it affects them later. There's also a big time skip at this point, a little over 1.5 years. So Hugo has pretty much come full circle. Instead of being the aforementioned bag of dicks, he has now turned into the fatherly figure. Seeing Hugo's character develop was really satisfying and goes to show you how much influence and charm Emma can have on people. Emma and Ray end up finding the gate to the 7 walls, but when they return to the shelter, they are under attack. Now, this is where episode 4 of season 2 comes in. Yeah, the anime skipped all of that. Every detail, not to mention that the children are only in the shelter for such a short time and then the attackers show up. It's extremely fast-paced. The children end up escaping and then we see at the end Mama Izzy being offered a redemption option where she can help find her escaped children, reintroducing her back into villainhood. All of this happens in one episode. But in the manga, it was way better and more emotional. Honestly, without the Goldie Pond arc, we really miss out on Emma's character growth, plus it gives us more of a reason to like Emma and respect her as a leader. Seeing Emma step up and be willing to throw her life away for a bunch of random kids she has no attachment to hits home, and shows what kind of person she is, and everyone can see that. Emma's just okay in the anime. Like I mentioned earlier, Hugo turns out to be one of my favorite characters, and you really get to see him shine through in this arc. As the shelter is under attack from humans that are working for the Ratry clan trying to recapture the escaped children, Hugo puts his big boy pants on and starts going Rambo all over these assholes. Lucas and Hugo end up protecting the children and helping them escape, but at the expense of their lives. This moment hits hard and all the children feel it as they all escape back to the forest where they first met Sanju and Mujika. Also, this Andrew guy sucks big pee-pee. The writer does a good job of showing how much influence Hugo ended up having on everyone, plus he comes to terms with his past. Emma has a moment with Hugo, who is dead, as he cheers her on to keep her going and then leaves. In the anime, our children head to the abandoned temple where we meet a new character, an old man demon who turns out to be an anime-only character that I quite enjoyed. Emma and Ray are in town trying to find food for our escapees and they end up running into Norman out of the blue. In the manga, Emma and Ray find some humans being surrounded by demons and kill the demons. The humans talk about their boss and how they are looking for the Gracefield escapees. The children end up following these dudes to a massive base inside a big tree. In the anime, it's just some back Ratchet castle thing in the forest. Turns out Norman was the boss man in charge, and we see this epic moment of Norman and Emma seeing each other for the first time in a long while. Seeing this empire that Norman was able to build is a testament to how smart he really is, not to mention all the children he has saved from the other farms. He is well respected throughout his community of cattle children. But in the anime, we just see Norman and a few of his main helpers in a dump. We find out a little bit about what happened to Norman in both medias, and then we also learn about Norman's plan. He wants to eradicate all the demons so they can live in peace without fearing for their lives, but how he wants to go about it in both is a little bit different. In the anime, he wants to create a drug that degenerates the demons, reverting them all back to a wild form, causing chaos, and then slaughter them all that way. But in the manga, he wants to start a civil war with a fallen demon clan and the nobles that have complete control over the farms and in turn all the demons' lives. The drug did exist in the manga, it was just a minor part of the plan. I personally like the way he wants to go about it in the manga better because, yeah, he still in turn will murder all the innocent demons, but he first wants to go for the nobles' heads that are scum. Emma wants to save all the cattle children, but without slaughtering the demons as well. Now, this is the other part I feel the anime did a bit of a better job of helping the audience be more on Emma's side of wanting to save the demons by taking a closer look into the demons' lives, relating them to just ordinary people with families trying to get by. The manga does a little bit of this by comparing demons eating children to the kids eating other creatures to survive. But it wasn't really enough for most to justify saving the demons. I mean, up to this point, aside from Emma meeting Sanju and Mujika, and I guess having a chat with Luvis, I don't think she has enough reason to justify saving the demons. She has only ever seen bloodthirsty demons eating children, as well as all the hunters at Goldie Pond. You could argue that she spent a year or so going into different demon towns trying to find the gate to the 7 walls, and that is where she could have seen the demons in their everyday lives, but we don't get to see that in the manga. If they would have shown the more humane sides of the demons, it would have been easier to be on Emma's side over Norman's. In the manga, Emma and Ray convinced Norman to wait for them, to head to the 7 walls, and to make a new promise with Ivan. Norman doesn't wait though. In the anime, they want to go find Sanju and Mujika because they don't eat humans, and with their blood, they can stop demons from degenerating. That's right, demons have to eat humans to keep their smart human demon form thing. If not, they degenerate. That's why the promise that was made 1,000 years ago sucks butt cheeks, because the nobles are in charge of the farms and decide who gets big brain kid food and who gets dumb brain kid food. In the manga, the Seven Walls arc was really trippy. This Izzy demon is basically a god deity, and Emma and Ray are trying to find him and make a new promise with him to save the cattle children without killing the demons. Being in the Seven Walls was like some weird acid trip. They end up finding Isaac, and Emma makes a new promise. But there was a catch. Whoever makes a promise has to give him something in return. In the anime, Norman goes all her innocent demon mode, but when it comes down to it, he couldn't do it. He couldn't kill the old man and his granddaughter because her name turns out to be Emma as well. How convenient to stop our mentally unstable Norman. This scene in specific helps the audience understand and sympathize with the demons, which, like I mentioned earlier, is something that the manga didn't do a very good job of in my opinion. Sanju, Mujika, and the old man give their blood to all the demons, which in turn makes it so they don't degenerate and stop eating humans. This all happens, mind you, in an episode and some change. Watching through the anime, I felt like I was honestly missing something, and I'm sure people who have never read the manga were feeling the same way. It was so fast paced and just wraps things up way too quickly. In the manga, this final big fight arc was so much better. All the nobles are slaughtered, and then there's this epic fight with the queen at the end, where it turns out she has 2 weak points, but she ends up dying anyway. Sanju and Mujika are sentenced to death because they have the cursed blood that makes it so they don't degenerate, and anyone that has her blood is arrested. While all of this is going on, Emma, Ray, Norman, and the gang break back into Gracefield to save their family members from Mr. Peter Rattray. Now, this is where even the manga started to feel rushed, and everything kind of just wrapped up in a happy way. But the kids end up breaking in and cornering Peter, and then all of the sisters and mamas come out of the woodworks holding guns to their head and then say, "Oops, sorry Peter, you are a bad one," and turn on him instead. Also, Luvis, the guy that died at Goldie Pond way back when, didn't end up dying because he had 2 cores as well, like his sister. He tells the demon police not to arrest them and that they have been controlled this whole time by the nobles. Mujika ends up becoming the new demon queen, and Emma and the gang watch Mr. Pete slice his own neck. There is this cool little redemption scene of some kids hugging Isabella and forgiving her. Then we get to see Emma and Phil hug one out, and that was sweet too. Then a random salty demon shanks Isabella in front of all the kids. The kids all sit around their dying mother crying, and then she dies. Eventually, all the kids head underneath Gracefield to the portal to the human world. Turns out Emma lied to everyone saying that Ian didn't require something in return for granting a new promise, but he did. Emma had to say goodbye to her family and lose all of her memories of them. She wakes up in a snow-covered land and vibes with some old dude for a while. Ray and the gang end up finding Emma after some time, but she still doesn't remember them. Yet, they all end up happy in the end anyway. Yay! In the anime, they break into Gracefield with hot air balloons and a whole lot of them. They beat all the demons' asses and then corner Peter Rattray just like in the manga. He shanks himself again, and then Emma and all the other kids along with Isabella and all the other sisters head through the portal. At the very last moment, Emma, Ray, and Norman stay behind to help the demon world. Now, in a couple minutes slideshow, we see Emma's big adventure and talk with God that was such a big deal in the manga. Yeah, we see one of the most important parts boiled down to a moving still. Yeah, I don't know, the anime was just a mess, honestly. It's fine that they decided to do anime-only stuff, but it felt empty and not well put together. Some significant plot points get wrapped up almost immediately after being introduced, so like, what's the point? There were some characters I liked in some specific moments, but overall, it was just eh. What I really don't understand is why though. You already have all the material written, and it's really good. Why do you need to go off and dick it up like that? At this point in time, we don't really have any answers, and maybe in 10 years we will get the Promised Neverland Brotherhood and it will fix it. That would be cool, right?
I really did enjoy reading the manga all the way through. I didn't hate the ending, nor was it my favorite, and it may have felt like they pulled it out of their buttholes, but hey, the characters and the journey make reading this series worth it. Now, there was a ton that I left out of this video, and that is because the manga is well worth your time. So if you're going to consume the Promised Neverland, which I highly recommend you do, just read the books. They're better.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know what your thoughts are on the Promised Neverland manga and anime, and let us know what manga verses you want to see next. Shout out to our Patreons for making videos like this possible. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep it rad.